No, I can't just go ahead. I'd have to swear her in.
Just 1 second.
All right. See, Miss, if I got into trouble up here, are you credentialed enough to be sworn in as an official court reporter?
Yes.
All right. So if we have to, we'll just swear her in. So, and then whatever she does will also become, if necessary, a portion of the transcript on the field.
That's fine. Sorry for the problems.
Right. Counsel, you may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Elkin, thank you for returning today. Complete your testimony. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yesterday, we talked about the crime scene, and you were there that night, and you talked about what you saw. At the time of the shooting, did you see any car drive by or park near there?
No, I did not. I wasn't paying attention to the streets. I was just focused on what was happening, right in front of me, and seeing my friend, getting killed, and that's the only thing I remember as far as.
Well, let me ask you another thing. Do you remember, as you were sitting there with Marcus Boyd on the porch, that a white boy or a white young man came by?
Yeah, before the incident, before the shooting, a white male did approach Marcus while we were sitting on the porch talking, and you know, they talked for a second. He walked off the stairs. Marcus did, and met him, like, you know, on the sidewalk right there in front of his house, and talked, and you know, and I remember that. Yeah.
Looked like they made a deal?
It looked like it. I couldn't say for sure, but I mean, in my opinion, yeah, I was kind of giving him. I kind of gave Marcus a little grief about it because he wasn't selling to me, but you know, he did. It looked like he did with this guy, but he didn't. He never told me he did, and I never seen any drugs or anything. So.
Did you recognize or know who that was?
Not at all. Just a random male, white male.
So you don't recall a car parking where two guys in dark clothing jumped out of the car? Jumped out of the car?
Yeah, that is a little bit. I can't allow that one, Mr. Weisco. Just ask him what he saw. You asked him if he saw a car. All right.
I was trying to ask him what he did.
You try to tell him what you wanted. All right.
The theory in the case is somehow.
Objection, Your Honor.
Just tell me, did you see anybody get out of any kind of car?
Besides Marcus and his girlfriend and the baby, that was it.
Yes, that's the question. Besides them, you see anybody else get in
No.
and out of a car?
No, sir.
Did you see any kind of car for any reason stop in front of the house?
No,
park
sir.
In front of the house?
No, sir.
And how soon after this young white male left the scene, how soon after, if you can recall, did the shooting occur?
Within minutes. Within minutes. I thought, I mean, you know, later on, I thought maybe the guy was maybe went by there to get Marcus out because it happened just like that in my head. I was just thinking that, but yeah, It was like right after that, you know, but Marcus was already out on the porch, but it just, I don't know, it just,
the timing felt weird to you?
It felt weird, yeah, because right after he did that, it was like you know, he sat back, Marcus sat right back down, and then it wasn't minutes, and I'm talking minutes or seconds later that the shooting happened.
I got you. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yesterday we showed you a number of exhibits, and I think you identified those letters that you received and that you sent, right?
Yes.
You were corresponding with Lamar while both of you were in jail.
Yeah, me and Lamar started writing back and forth after I got that the first letter on my bed. Yeah.
I'm going to hand you Exhibit 10. That's the letter that's attached to a letter that was sent to Reverend Larry Rice. The back letter is addressed.
Yes, sir.
You wrote that letter, right?
I wrote this letter in the back, the one or two. Yes.
Anybody tell you what to say in that letter?
No, they did not. No.
Did you know it was going to go to Larry Rice?
Yes, that was my intention, was to get it to Larry Rice.
What did Bromwell, if anything, talk to you, tell you about sending a letter to Larry Rice?
Kevin Brownwell was my cellie. I knew Kevin's family from the streets, but anyway, when I seen him there, I hadn't seen him in a long time, and Kevin was doing a long stretch. He got a bunch of time, and anyway, he was talking about how his case was screwed up and how, you know, his evidence was all I don't know, like a lot of it was either planted or you know, messed with, and
this is what he's telling you?
Yeah, he was telling me this. He was trying to get he exhausted his appeals, and he was talking to me, you know, when we'd be locked down, which was quite a bit at the Jefferson Correctional Center. 23 hours a day, a lot of the days, and so we did a lot of talking, but he had pulled out all his paperwork, and he would be telling me how, you know, the police planted the blood on his shoes, and you know, just stuff, you know, and lied, and just kind of got him sentenced with this big bit, with, you know, from him saying that it was not true. Okay, so he started talking about who the prosecuting attorney was, and it was Dwight Warren, and so we're sitting there talking, and he said, yeah, he goes, I know that guy, I know that prosecutor's crooked, and you know, I've talked to other people, and he told me how he talked to other people in prison that, you know, went through Dwight Warren, and, you know, they all say the same thing. But anyway, so what had happened is I was like, well, you know, I said, I kind of know a little bit of something about that, and I didn't really want to say because, you know, if I put out there that I snitched and went to court and I snitched on somebody, because in prison, no matter if you know, your friend gets killed or whatever, if you take the stand and you testify against somebody, you're called a snitch in there, and you know, that's a death sentence in some camps, and you know, I mean, you can get hurt, and so I was kind of nervous to tell him, but I wound up opening up to him, and I was like, you know, I know what you're saying, because this is what happened to me. And I started telling the story about the murder, and then how, you know, I was kind of bullied into testifying. I was, you know, again, it was just me and him talking, and he immediately thought if I would write a letter, or if I could get something, a ball rolling somewhere, that it would open the door back up for him for his appeals, if he could get, you know, Dwight Warren in trouble. So that's how that all started. And then,
so he was critical of Dwight Warren, right?
Yes, he was.
And you told him that Dwight Warren was the prosecutor in your case, right?
Yes. And I told him, you know, the circumstances of what happened. And
so this letter that you wrote to him that made concern, did he tell you what to put in there?
No. I wound up just writing that letter, and then.
Let me ask you this. You have read this letter, I guess, several times.
Yes.
Is the information that you put in this letter true and correct according to the best of your knowledge and memory?
Yes, it is.
You kept saying this letter. Does it have an exhibit designation?
Yes, it's exhibit 10, Your Honor.
All right.
It's in the book that we gave you.
I just need to make sure I had an exhibit designation so I would know which one to look at. So exhibit 10 is the one you referred to when you asked him if it was true and accurate to the best of his knowledge and belief.
I think he authenticated all of these letters yesterday, Your Honor. I can either move now and introduce them all evidence as a group, or I can wait until the end of the testimony and then we'll cover more.
That really wasn't my concern, but when you drill down to a specific letter, give me the exhibit number so I know what you're drilling down to.
And I'll try that, Your Honor.
Right.
Sometimes I'm up there questioning them.
I understand, you know, the only human.
Yesterday we also talked about exhibit 32.
Okay.
Is that a letter that you received while you were in prison?
Yeah. Yes.
That's a letter that we talked about yesterday that you got.
This is a letter that was actually it was on my bed. It was in an envelope, and it was on my bed. So when I came in from work, and my cellie wasn't in. He was at work, and I seen this letter lying up on my bed, and I opened it up, and like I said, it was from Lamar, and you know, at first it's, you know, scared the shit out of me.
Stop for a moment. As of the moment of conviction, what was the educational background of the relator? As of the moment of conviction, what was the relator's educational background?
Lamar?
Yeah.
He had not graduated from high school, Your Honor.
All right.
He later on got a GED, but at the time he had left high school and did not graduate from high school.
All right. You have something to say, Counselor?
Yes, he, by that time, had gotten his GED, was attending some college courses for community college.
Because there's a sophisticated writing in this letter, and surprisingly so. But I'll take that for what it's worth. Go ahead.
Going back to Exhibit 10, the letter to whom it concerns.
Right.
What's the date of that letter?
I put on there 7/12/2003.
By that time, have you heard anything from Lamar? Have he written to you or talked to you?
No. As a matter of fact, you know, when I entered the prison system, you know, I asked if I had anybody that had me down as enemies, and I didn't have anybody, and I was kind of seeing if Lamar had put me down as an enemy, or, you know, they ask you if you wanted any enemies. So I didn't bring Lamar's name up. I was trying to be low key around it. I was just hoping he wouldn't be at that camp or, you know, the prison that I was at, and he wasn't. Yeah, so that's,
Okay, so when you saw this letter
yeah.
lying on your bed, did you get concerned?
Yeah, I got, yeah, absolutely. Because I didn't, you know, I did not contact Lamar. I didn't write Lamar about the letter I sent to Larry Rice. And so, yeah, to see that letter on my bed, you know, I mean, again, you know, I could be labeled as a snitch in there, and, you know, bad things could happen to me. So, yeah, I was very concerned.
You didn't write him back that way, I guess, did you?
I don't know. It's been so long ago. I know that I did finally write him, and in our letters that we wrote back and forth, you know, I straight up asked him if he was looking for revenge, if he was looking, you know, to harm me, if this was some kind of ploy or what. And then I asked him how he found out, and he never told me how he found out.
I handed you yesterday also Exhibit 35, which is a November 15, 2005 letter that you received that from
I'm sorry, did you say Exhibit 5?
35.
35, thank you.
You received that from him.
Yes, I did.
Also yesterday, which I'm going to ask you some detail about, is a letter. It's Exhibit 11, Your Honor. It's a letter dated 11/24/03. Is that the actually first letter you wrote back to Lamar?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Are you going to deal with the fact that Hold on, yeah,
So this is
hold on.
this is a rather
I
detailed.
said hold on,
I'm
because I have a question for you.
sorry. Yes.
35 is a completely different typeface and a very different writing style. You gonna clear all this stuff up for me?
I don't know who typed it, Your Honor.
I'm concerned about who wrote it.
Maybe Lamar can. And I think
Well,
Lamar will testify to this.
Somebody has to resolve it, because you can't just look at me and say, oh yeah, I wrote them all, and expect that to work when I'm looking right at different styles, different typeface. I just don't buy things, all right? You know,
Understand.
too long on the bench for that to happen.
Understand and appreciate it.
So be aware of that problem.
Thank you. Did you write 11, the exhibit 11, which is a...
Yeah, that's my handwriting, yes.
Did you say exhibit 11? I'm sorry.
Exhibit 11, Your Honor.
All right, just give me a quick second, please.
And it's dated 11/24/03. I think my question to you is this the first letter you wrote to Lamar after receiving his letters?
Yeah, I would imagine, again, it's been so long ago, I don't know which one was first, but, yeah, it's a letter I wrote to him, yes.
Have you spoken to him before you wrote this letter?
No, I've never met him. I hadn't seen him, you know, besides a picture in a long time. And, so yeah, I did not know him at all.
You have a lot of detail in this letter. You're describing what you saw that night when Marcus Floyd was killed, right?
Yeah, he had said in his letters previous to that he was trying to prove his innocence in this murder. And again, you know, I didn't know if he committed the murder or not, but the thing is that I don't think that my testimony or what had happened to me with the detectives and everything, you know, it shouldn't have been allowed to send him to prison or be part of his sentence. And that's what I was trying to correct.
The information, the facts that you have in this letter true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, it is.
You're talking about exhibit 11, correct?
I'm talking about the letter, Your Honor, which is exhibit 11.
All right.
Another letter I think I showed you yesterday, I'm just going to show it to you again, is exhibit 33, which is a December 3, 2003 letter, which starts out, "Hey, Greg." You received that from Lamar Johnson.
Now understand now, these letters that you're introducing, their evidentiary purpose isn't direct evidence to me because the witness is on the stand. I'm assuming you're putting these in here. Well, I really don't quite understand why. The other side may cross-examine on them, I guess, if they see something they need to. But you should know I probably won't read it because I'm going to rely on the testimony, which is what the law says. You rely on the testimony, and then prior written documents have other evidentiary purposes. So keep that in mind when you prepare your closing argument. Go ahead.
I understand all that, Your Honor. I gather that at some point you'll want to bring it back and complete the law, and we want to cite to the record.
And the record will be the testimony. There won't be any conclusions of fact based on stuff that has an unclear evidentiary purpose. All right?
I appreciate that, Your Honor.
All right.
Did you get this letter?
Yes, I did.
The next one I'm going to show you is Exhibit 34. And we looked at that yesterday, too. And that was a letter dated 12/17/03.
I tell you what I'll do with these letters. If there's an attack on the credibility of this witness, I'll take these prior statements to the extent that they're consistent as evidence that would go to the credibility of the witness's testimony.
Thank you, Your Honor, and that's good.
All right.
This is Exhibit 34. Attached to that is an affidavit. The other, did you receive a proposed affidavit from Mr. Lamar Johnson?
I'm not sure how it went down. Again, it was so long ago. So what are you asking? I'm
Direct your attention.
Okay.
Exhibit 34, which is dated December 1703.
Okay.
Hey Lamar, I received your letters and took my affidavit to get it notarized.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know if he sent me the affidavit or if I went to the law, you know, the law clerk in our, you know, in our library and got it. But
By law clerk, you mean a fellow inmate?
yeah, fellow inmate. Yeah.
Go ahead.
You attested to this letter that you wrote back to Lamar, right?
Yes, I did.
I'm also going to hand you.
Yeah, that's my handwriting. Yeah.
Hand you Exhibit 12. That's the affidavit of James Elkins. Take a look at that, and I ask you if you sign that affidavit under oath.
Yes, I did. I did it in front of now this. There you go in front
Hold
of
on just a moment, please. Can you give me a couple of paper clips? All right. Keep going.
Okay. A notary. I think that's what I had done, and it's a lay person that worked there and was authorized to notarize, and that's what I did. I got it notarized.
Everything in there true and correct according to your best knowledge?
Are you still on are you on a different?
I'm on 12, Your Honor. 12 is a separate affidavit, but it's
Hold on, give me just a second.
the same affidavit that's attached to the letter.
The same affidavit.
It is.
All right.
I made a separate exhibit of 12.
All right. I got you.
Okay, and your question again?
You signed that under oath, it's true and correct, right?
Yes, I did.
I have another affidavit that you signed, which is Exhibit 13. It's also under oath.
I see it.
An affidavit that you signed under oath. It is dated.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Signed February 4, 2010.
Yes.
These affidavits that we just looked at, 12 and 13, and the letters that we just looked at, are consistent with the testimony under oath that you gave here. Are consistent with the testimony you gave here today, right?
That's okay. This question is okay. Go ahead, finish your question.
Yes.
Now, yesterday, you testified in this courtroom, which was all over the news last night. You were a drug addict, down on your luck, was homeless for a while, lived in a tent in one of the state parks, trouble with the law, that you got out of prison. When did you get out? 2017 or so?
Yes, sir.
Since that time, have you taken any drugs?
Actually, that would be relevant.
Clean now.
I am clean and sober today. Yes, and I did finish my federal parole finally and my state parole. And I finally finished it, and I'm done with it, and, yeah, clean and sober, and, you know, trying to keep busy and
Counsel, the
working.
reason it's relevant is to the extent that there's evidence of prior drug use, I, as a fact finder, need to know that he's not presently under the influence of any type of drugs or alcoholic beverages. So that kind of went to that issue. Although it's normally done on redirect, but, you know, I'll take it now.
You're working, tell us what you're doing now.
Today, I'm rehabbing a 4-family flat in South City, and just working hard, working every day. I'm actually, I'm the contractor on the job, and you know, it's something new, and it's challenging, and it's fulfilling.
Bottom line, with your testimony that you've given here in this court today before Judge Mason, is it true that you could not positively identify Lamar Johnson as one of the shooters in Market Court?
That is true.
All I have at this time.
You may cross-examine. You do whatever you need to do, counsel. The well is yours. You may, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Elkin, yesterday, on direct examination, you testified, you were shown Circuit Attorney's Office Exhibit 59, which was a photo of the front of Marcus's house. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you testified, using that exhibit, you talked about where you were located once the two gunmen approached, and you said the first individual had grabbed you, kind of pulled you off the porch and said, get the fuck up. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may, counsel.
I'm going to show you my copy that was provided as Circuit Attorney's Exhibit 59, and I've marked it as State's Exhibit A59. I'm going to show this to you. And I'm going to give you a Sharpie. Could you mark this exhibit with an X where you were whenever that individual grabbed your arm and took you and said, get the fuck up? And it, well, I got to open it, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
All right.
And if you could just mark where you were on this picture with an X. Okay. And then where did you go after he grabbed you and took you off the porch? If you could mark that with an O. All right. And then I'm going to ask you to maybe draw a dot where that person was standing. Once you went from X to O, that individual who grabbed you, where was he in relation to this O? And that's when he was pointing his gun at you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll take that marker back from you. And this is a fair and accurate representation of where you were before and then after on this picture. Your Honor, I'd offer State's Exhibit A59.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Give it a minute. So let me know, just so I'm real clear on this. Hold on, let me first designate the exhibit number. A59. X equals where he was when he was told to get up.
Whenever, I'll clarify with the witness. The X was where you were whenever he approached you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the O is where you were after he grabbed you and pulled you off the porch.
Yeah, he didn't really grab and pull me. He put his arm on me. And yeah, so yeah, you could say
He
grab.
pulled you off the porch. All right.
Yeah, he didn't, I mean, I got up on my own volition. It ain't like he just threw me over there. He just,
This
with the
black
gun in
cloth,
his hand, he just grabbed me and pulled me up, told me to get the fuck up.
This black cloth laying on the ground here, does that have anything to do with you?
No, that wasn't there at the time.
All right. And then the dot, let me make sure I get this down. You were standing, tell me what the dot means. You put a dot on here?
I put a dot on there saying, she asked me where he was standing, the gunman.
Okay. One of the two gunmen.
One of the two gunmen.
You may continue, Counselor.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Mr. Elking, on Sunday, October 30th, 1994, it's your testimony that you were at your brother's, and then instead of going home, you walked to Marcus's house, correct?
Yeah, I was dropped off by my brother a couple blocks away, yeah.
And your purpose for going to Mr. Boyd's home was to buy some crack cocaine from him?
Yeah.
And when you
much.
arrived, nobody was there?
Nobody was there.
So whenever you turn around to leave, and you said maybe you knocked on the door for a minute or two.
Right.
When you turned around to leave, you see Marcus Boyd, Leslie Williams, and their baby pull up in a car.
Yes.
Do they park that car right up front of their house?
Yeah, it pulled right up. There was no cars in front of his house, and
they park that car and get out of the car and come up into their home?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so nobody dropped them off. They arrived on their own?
They arrived in I think it was a tracker, yeah.
Okay. And so, you testified that, I'm going to go over a couple of things that you testified about yesterday. Whenever that...
Stop for a moment. You said they parked right in front of the house?
Pretty much right in front of the house, yeah.
Did the police make them move the car after they arrived on the scene?
I have no idea.
So you and Marcus are sitting on the porch talking. You testified that, do you recall laughing? You guys were joking around a little bit?
Yeah, I think we were, I was chuckling about something, and yeah, and then he, like I said, I'd seen him get kind of startled or whatever, and I turned and looked and seen a gunman.
And they came from, I think you had previously called it a hallway next to the house, is that correct?
Yes.
And that would have been on your right?
Yes.
And both are armed?
Yes.
One of the gunmen came to you, kind of, whatever you want to call it, grabbed you, pulled you, put his arm on you, but you make it off the porch?
Yes.
And he remains there with you?
Not with me. He's still standing right in front of the stairs, because when I came down the stairs, if you see, that's a little sidewalk. I took a couple steps and then wound up being on that grass right where I put that O.
And he's on the same level as you, correct?
He's on the same level with, I think, like maybe a leg, might have even been up at that point, up on a stair, and or two. Okay. But yeah, when I turned around and I seen Marcus scuffling with the other gunman, and then the guy that told me to get up, the gunman that told me to get up, he could face me and point his gun at me, but then also reach over, and because that's only those stairs are no, I mean they're short stairs. I mean, if I was to show you the height outside.
Okay, Mr. Elking, let me ask you another question, because you kind of got away from me there. My question was he on the same level as you, yes or no?
Yes, he was on the same level.
And then another gunman ran by you and went directly up to Marcus on the porch, correct?
Yes.
And the gunman who grabbed you, you looked at him directly in the eye?
In the eyes, yeah.
Okay, in the eyes. And you could see his eyes?
Yeah, yeah.
And the gunman who grabbed you, is your testimony that he had a distinctive eye, and you had called the eye lazy at some point, correct?
Yes.
That was a little bit of a compound question. I don't know if he said distinctive eye, but he did say lazy eye. Would you agree with me that there was something memorable about that gunman's eye?
Yes.
And you had, would you say that you described yesterday, and I believe the judge inquired as well, about what you meant by lazy. You said that one of them just wasn't open all the way. Is that fair? And is that a fair recollection of your testimony?
I mean, just Different from the other eye, yeah. To me,
So whenever you say lazy eye, I want to make sure I understand. You don't mean that
Okay.
one eye is looking directly at you and the other eye is looking a different
no, that, to me, I would call that crazy eye.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. We all use different terms.
Right.
So at that time, you're looking at the gunman, you're looking at his eyes, and then you recall hearing Marcus saying, no, no, no.
Yes.
And then shots are fired.
Yes.
After the shooting was over, both of the shooters are now down on the same level as you.
Yes.
They point their guns at you.
Yes.
They kind of laugh or snicker.
Yes.
And then they go back the way that they came.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And yesterday, I believe you testified that they calmly walked down the way that they came.
Yes.
Is that what happened?
Yes, that's what I remember.
Okay. Do you recall giving a deposition back in 1995? Being deposed in relation to this case?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember it.
Sure. But you remember coming in and taking an oath, questions were asked, and you answered those questions?
Okay, yes.
I'm going to show you, and this has been marked as State's Exhibit for identification, VV. VV as in Victor. I'm going to show you on page 28, on line 21. You can read along with me. You answer, they lowered the guns and took off running back down the hallway. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were also, do you remember being deposed in 2019? And that would have been by Lamar Johnson's attorneys, Ms. Lindsay Reynolds. I think they came and took your deposition or interviewed you while you were incarcerated.
Okay.
Do you recall that?
No, I don't.
I think there was a videographer there.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Sound familiar?
Okay, yeah.
And you took an oath and testified truthfully?
Yeah, I think it was, he was like an investigator.
Do you remember Ms. Reynolds asking you questions and you answered those questions truthfully?
Yes, yes.
Showing you this has been marked as State's Exhibit ZZ for identification.
What's the date of that deposition again?
April 26, 2019. I'm going to show you on page 62. Starting on page 62, you were asked on line 19, question. So after the two gunmen left on foot, what did you do? And your answer, they both kind of came down to the bottom of these stairs. They pointed their guns at me. And I remember they snickered. They looked at each other and kind of snickered. I heard a little bit of a laugh, like they scared the shit out of me, and then they lowered their guns and took off running and went back the way they came. Did I read that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You testified about the photos that you were shown by Detective Nickerson yesterday on direct examination. Do you recall that?
Yes, ma'am.
And you testified yesterday that you met and you sat at a table together, and that during that meeting, at some point, Detective Nickerson said, hey, can we go talk in private?
Yes.
And at that point, Detective Nickerson told you about the possibility of getting you relocated and getting you some witness protection.
Yeah, or just a witness protection thing.
But in fact, it was you who asked Detective Nickerson to speak privately, wasn't it?
If it was, I don't remember, but either or, we talked privately.
And you asked him to speak privately because you didn't want to talk about the fact that you were going to buy crack in front of your wife.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I've made that clear.
Okay, and so you asked him to step away from that table.
Okay, yeah.
Would you agree with me?
I agree. I don't know if he did or if I did, but I don't remember who asked who, but yeah, we talked privately.
Okay, so yesterday your testimony was that he asked to speak to you privately. I'm going 22. And
Give me
then
your line number, please.
line 22.
Oh, 78, line 22?
Correct.
Thank you.
And then I remember asking him, because I knew now we were going to start talking about Marcus's side business, which was selling crack. And I didn't want to bring that up in front of my wife.
Right.
Did I read that correctly?
Right, yep.
Okay. So you would agree with me that you asked him to speak privately?
Okay, yeah, then I was confused about if I did say that he did. I don't remember who did. All I know is that we talked privately.
And so you looked at those photos whenever you were talking with Detective Nickerson. Do you remember if that was at the table or when you were standing speaking privately, or do you not remember today where it was?
What's that?
When you actually looked at those photos.
Oh, they were at the table.
And you recognized something about the eyes of one of the photos that was shown to you?
Yes, I did.
You said it had that same kind of lazy eye that you remember the shooter having.
Yeah, I said those eyes, they just stuck out.
Oh, which photo? Give me a second here. Which exhibit is that? Don't I have that photo already?
Your Honor, that was, I'm going to use Mark 1 as state's exhibit, but that was used yesterday by the circuit attorney's office.
Under what exhibit number, please?
Your Honor, I believe it's exhibit 62 from on that photo, right?
May I continue, Your Honor?
Not yet. Did you say exhibit 62?
Yes, Judge.
Do you have your copy of that exhibit immediately accessible? Bring that to me, please.
Yes, sir, Judge.
You gave that to me already, or it's just in the book?
I would bet that it's in the book, Your Honor, but...
But you haven't moved it into admission yet.
Not yet, Your Honor. Oh, it's not in the book. It's my understanding it's not in the book, Judge. I apologize.
Judge, it is in our book.
Okay, I'm handing you what's been admitted. It has CAO Exhibit 62, but at some point it was also this marked Petitions Exhibit 1. I'm handing you that right now. Point to me the person with the lazy eye.
Right here.
All right. Now, tell me, what about this says lazy eye? Because I realize I'm getting old, but you know, I just couldn't see it. So I need you to help me out.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
I just think it was just different from the other side of the eye. I don't know why, you know, again, when he showed me that Polaroid picture, it just, something I just happened to look at the eyes, and it just, to me, seemed, and I don't know why I say lazy, it's just different from the other eye.
When you first described this lazy eye, did you say whether it was left or right?
I never said.
Which is it?
I mean, it shows on there that it would have been the right.
You can't remember? Oh, the right?
I don't know. I mean, it's been so long ago.
I just want to know at the time that you testified.
I don't.
I'm sorry, that you were interviewed. Did you say left or right lazy eye?
And I don't remember.
you see this, and I'm pointing to top left. You see that person on the top left?
Yep.
Their left eye is a little bit more closed than the right eye, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Give it back to me, please. You may inquire, Counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. And at that photo, whenever you were shown those photographs, you chose the individual. You didn't know that person's name, right?
No.
You just pointed and said, this one is familiar.
Well, he was doing one at a time. I remember that, and I just said those eyes. I said something about those eyes, and then he asked me to sign it, and I wouldn't.
And you picked it because of the eyes?
Yeah, just the eyes stuck out to me.
Okay, and you were positive that the person in the photo was the same person who told you to get the fuck up?
I never said that, no.
I'm going to show you again what's been marked as State's Exhibit DV. I'm going to show you the front of this document. And this says deposition of secret witness, correct? That's that deposition we were talking about, correct?
Okay.
What exhibit?
I'm going to mark for identification as State's Exhibit. I'm telling you, it's marked as DV for identification. I'm not offering it. So I'm turning to.
Well, what is it on the cover? What is it on the cover? What is it called?
Deposition of secret witness Greg, and it was provided to us in discovery by opposing counsel. I'm going to turn to page 34.
With all due respect, if he can find it, it'll be easier for me to find.
Sure.
Rather than trying to, because your stack of exhibits here is not tagged.
Well, Your Honor, it may not be in our vote because I was not planning on offering it for evidence. I'm just using it to confront the witness, but I can provide you with a copy.
Do you have a copy? Because anything that you raise in court, you should be prepared to give the judge a copy of, so that I can make appropriate rulings on any type of objection.
Yes, Your Honor. I do not have a copy on me, and I will have one after lunch for you.
Does anybody, I mean, after lunch doesn't do me much good. I have to rule in a moment. I don't know what objections are going to be raised.
I can get you a copy, Judge, too.
Well, I'm just going to leave it at that then. If somebody has an objection, then we'll probably have to bring that copy up here to the bench so I can look at it. You may continue with your inquiry.
Thank you, Your Honor. So on this deposition, I'm going to turn to page 34, line 23. Question. The first picture that you picked out, were you positive that that was the person that told you to get the fuck up? Turning to page 35. Answer. Yes, I did. Did I read that correctly?
Yeah, you did.
And then you also testified yesterday about the lineup that you viewed in person. And that would have happened that same day, correct? Just later at night?
Yeah, I think so.
And that was on November 3rd, which was 4 days after the murder that you witnessed, correct?
I think so, yes.
All right. And you testified that your wife came with you to the police department.
Yes.
Is that true? And that she was upstairs in the office whenever you went down to look at the lineup.
Yes.
And then whenever you were done with the lineup, you went back up to that office.
Yes.
I'm going to show you the same affidavit that Mr. Weiss just showed you, that you authored, or at least signed, in 2003. And you testified on direct examination this morning that everything in this affidavit is true and correct. Did I hear you correctly?
Yes.
show you paragraph 21 of that affidavit. When we got back to his office, Detective Nickerson and a few other detectives sat around me and began playing good cop, bad cop on me for a few hours, more or less. Is that true?
Yes.
Where was your wife?
I don't know. I don't know if she was in a waiting room or what. I thought maybe she was upstairs in his office, but I don't remember now. I don't know where she was, but I know that she was with me
The same office
when we went down there.
in prior to you viewing the lineup? The same office that she was in prior to you viewing the lineup?
That I went to?
You testified yesterday.
Okay.
You confirmed just now.
Okay.
That your wife was upstairs in his office when you went down to look at the lineup.
You know, if I said that, I don't know if she was in his office or in a waiting room. All I know is that she went down there with me, and then when we went upstairs into the detective's area or whatever that was, she was not there at that point. No. I didn't go back to her until he took me back home.
And it's your testimony that when you were going to that room, you were in an elevator with Detective Nickerson, and at that point is when you had the conversation, and you said, tell me who they are, and I'll tell you if you're right.
Yes.
And then you went into an office with him, and then detectives surrounded you and pressured you for hours to identify.
I never said that. I never said hours.
I read an affidavit to you, and you agreed with me.
I didn't say hours, and in the affidavit, if that was said, I don't know. I don't remember no hours. What I do remember is that I was starting to be pressured, and I felt bullied.
So that affidavit that I just showed you, that was not the truth.
You know, listen, on some of those, wherever they are, I don't.
Counselor, let him answer the question.
Yeah. You know, again, I was just telling you, I wanted to help, okay? I wanted to help them, and I believed everything they did have to say, okay? But then, when I would get to where I was kind of backing away or whatever, yeah, they would throw things out there like, either, another detective would say like, either you're on the winning side or you're going to be on the losing side. What side you want to be on, and that type of stuff. I mean, to me, that's...
How long did that go on?
I don't know, maybe a half hour or so, maybe an hour. It's been, 30 years ago? Mm-hmm. I don't remember. And here's the thing is, if I said in one affidavit that this is the truth and all that, well, if I was trying to help them and I was saying what they wanted to hear, well, then that was the truth at that time. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying when I was being pressured or bullied?
Because there's only one truth.
Well, I mean, I'm here today telling you that what went on, how I testified against Lamar Johnson. Again, I don't know if he's a shooter or not. I still don't know today. But I know this, that I did not know who the shooters were. And I was told who they were, and it was wrong for that to take place. That's the only thing I'm trying to correct today, Judge.
What am I supposed to do with all this lazy eye stuff?
The lazy eye, again, when the gunman told me to get the fuck up and I looked into some eyes, something was different about his eyes. I just remember that, and something clicked.
Take your time.
Something clicked, and the picture, the eyes, I don't know if they were the same eyes or not. That's why I didn't sign the back of that. That's why I didn't want even to go, nothing to do with it. The thing is I don't know who killed Marcus at all. To this day, I still don't. And I think it was wrong that what I did, and I take full blame for it. I take full blame. I'm just saying that I was feeling pressured, I was feeling bullied. And then, again, I was wanting to help. And I think it was just wrong the way it happened. And I don't think that Lamar Johnson should have been, my testimony at least, should not have been a factor in his sentence. And it's been haunting me.
You sat in a courtroom and you pointed at that gentleman over there named Lamar
Johnson.
I did it again, didn't I? Lamar Johnson. Forgive me for that, Mr. Johnson. Trust me, the Lamar Jackson that you're not him at all. Sorry about that, please. You sitting there and you pointed at Lamar Johnson.
Yes, I did, Judge.
Which eye of his is lazy? Just tell me which eye is a lazy eye.
I would have to guess. I would have to guess, and I would say the left eye.
I've been watching him the whole time to see if I saw a lazy eye. I didn't see anything like that. And I'm trying to get some real help out of your testimony why you went that way. Because you're hinging your testimony and your identification on this lazy eye thing. And of course, as a fact finder, I can sit here and actually stare right at people, particularly in this case, the relative, and I haven't seen it. And I'm just trying to figure out, okay, you got to be straight with me. Were you sure or were you guessing?
I wasn't sure. I was traumatized. I mean, I witnessed my friend being killed. I mean, I watched the murder happen right in front of me on it, and then, just something I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you besides the fact that all I thought when the gunman came around and told me to get the fuck up, I just knew something about those eyes, and it just... At
trial, were you cross-examined about this lazy eye thing, or did you...
Yeah, no, I think at trial, his defense attorneys, they hardly asked me anything. I think they were, today I would call it incompetent with him, but yeah, it was... No, I wasn't cross-examined a whole lot. I think this is the most I've ever talked about the lazy eye.
You may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. At trial, you specifically identified Lamar Johnson as the same person with the same eyes that you looked at the time of the shooting. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You testified a lot about how that was traumatizing for you.
Yes.
During the shooting, you were frozen at the bottom of the steps.
Yes.
In fact, you were waiting to get shot at that point. Is that fair to say?
Yes, ma'am.
You made plans in your head of what you would do if you did get shot.
Yes, ma'am.
You were going to drop down and pretend to be dead.
Yes, ma'am.
And immediately after you witnessed the murder of your friend, you ran away in the opposite direction of the shooters.
Yes, ma'am.
You ran through some private property.
Yes, ma'am.
Hopping fences.
Yes.
Just trying to get out of there. Is that fair?
Yes, ma'am.
At one point, you stopped and turned around, and you could see his girlfriend Leslie on the porch. She had come out of the house. Do you recall that?
I don't remember that. No.
At some point, do you remember stopping and looking back towards the house?
No.
And that night, you get home and you're terrified for your safety, for the safety of your wife, your child, and your unborn child. Is that fair?
Yes, ma'am.
So you pack up, you go to your sister's in the county.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't want to go back to be in the city of St. Louis at all.
No, I did not.
And in fact, whenever law enforcement got in contact with you through your sister, a couple days later, you said, I don't even want to come down to the city of St. Louis. You can meet me at this diner. You're not going downtown. Is that fair?
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't want to go back to your house.
No.
During the lineup that was in person that night on November 3rd, 1994, the entire time during the in-person lineup, you were afraid.
Yes, ma'am.
You thought they could see you?
I did. You know, it's something that I had never went through. I had never been to prison at that time. I had never done anything like that. Yeah, and it's.
You never looked at an in-person lineup?
No, I never
so
did.
You had concerns that the people behind the mirror or window, whatever it was, you were afraid that they could see you?
Yeah, I did.
And you expressed that multiple times?
Yes.
And the decision to cooperate was very difficult for you because you knew that it would affect you for the rest of your life and you'd always be looking over your shoulder.
Yes.
Looking over your shoulder for people trying to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, yeah.
So, Mr. Elfing, you testified just now whenever you were answering some of Judge Mason's questions. You said that you were talking to the police and you just wanted to help.
Yes.
And you would agree with me that in that 2003 affidavit where it says that you were in the police department for hours and they were like, go cop, bad cop, your memory today is that that is untrue.
I think the hours is untrue.
Okay. And whenever you were sent that affidavit in 2003, that was sent to you by Lamar Johnson, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you just wanted to help Lamar Johnson.
To right or wrong, yes, ma'am.
So whenever you first went to prison in 1999, is that correct? I think
99.
99, okay. By that time, you ended up at the walls, you said?
Not at first. I mean, I didn't wind up there. I wound up getting up there.
Okay. Is that the first penitentiary that you went to in 1999?
No, I think I started at the reception diagnostic.
Fulton?
Fulton.
And then
Eventually, I got to Jefferson City.
okay. And that's the old Missouri pen, correct?
Right. Yeah, they call it the walls, the old walls.
So if I say the walls, I'm using your words so that you'll know what I'm talking
Yeah.
Just so you'll
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I was general counsel at the time. So I know it was the Missouri State Penitentiary.
about. We're all on the same
MSP.
page.
Right, we're on the same page.
And so whenever you end up at the walls, your house at the walls, you are roommates with Kevin Bromwell, cellmates.
Yes.
And you're not roommates, you call them cellies, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what
Yeah,
you
we're
explained
cellies.
yesterday. And he started talking to you about how he's innocent.
Yes, ma'am.
And he told you, you spent days, weeks, months looking at his case.
Yes, ma'am.
And he told you all about how, this horrible injustice occurred, and he wants to take down Dwight Warren.
Yes, ma'am.
How long were you cellmates with Kevin Bromwell?
I'm not sure. Maybe a year or under a year, but somewhere around there.
Okay. And so at some point, he tells you, I want someone to look at my case. I want to cast light on Dwight Warren being a shady prosecutor.
Yes, ma'am.
And he comes up with an idea after you say that Dwight Warren was the prosecutor on the case where you were a witness. He said that we should write a letter to Larry Rice.
Yes, ma'am.
It was not your idea.
No.
But you agreed,
Yes.
and you wrote a letter, and he sent it to Larry Rice.
Yes, ma'am.
You did not send that letter.
No, he was wanting to send it, and he was going to write something with it. He said, and he had Larry Rice's address, so yeah, he said he would send it.
So I want to talk about those letters now. You were just shown a number of letters back and forth. The first one made its way to Larry Rice. At least that was your understanding.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
You never got a letter back from him, right?
No.
You believe that it was sent to Larry Rice.
Exactly. Yes.
And then the rest of those letters are correspondence between you and Lamar Johnson. Correct?
Yes.
And you were just shown all of those letters on direct examination.
Yes.
So I want to start with the letter dated 7/12/03.
7/12/03?
Yes, Your Honor. That would be the one that you said you wrote to whom it may concern for.
Does it have an exhibit designation on it?
I believe that was CAO Exhibit 11.
Exhibit 10, you know.
10, thank you, Mr. White.
Thank you. Let me continue.
Thank
Okay.
you. So you send this letter to whom it may concern, and in this letter, you say that you view an in-person lineup at the police department. The next day, you go to the prosecutor's office, and the prosecutor, Dwight Warren, met with you and the detective, and they pressured you into making an identification. Is that true? And I'm not asking you if it's true. Is that what you said in this letter?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And then some time passes, and you received a letter. You said that this letter showed up on your bed, but it was signed from Lamar Johnson, correct?
Yes.
And that letter is not dated. Would you agree with me? Do you have that one in front of you still?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not dated.
Okay.
Or, well, okay, yeah, I think 32, Exhibit 32, yeah, I don't see it being dated, no.
Okay. And so between the time that you wrote this letter to Mr. Rice, Reverend Rice,
Yes.
and getting this letter back from who you believe to be Lamar Johnson,
Yes.
how much time passed?
Again, I don't know, but it wasn't long.
Okay.
It wasn't long.
So you can't remember exactly how long it was today?
No,
That's fair. So in this letter that you sent, you don't say anything in this letter about the police threatening to pin you as an accessory to murder. Is that fair?
Okay, yeah.
And you don't say anything about, the police suspecting you at all. Is that fair?
Is that, if that's what's in the letter, yeah.
And
Yes.
so then you get a letter back from who you believe to be from Lamar Johnson sometime later. We're not sure how much time. And in that letter, he says to you that it's puzzling to him that your identification came after you spent some time alone with Detective Nickerson. Is that correct?
Can you say that one more time?
Sure. You want me to show you? Would that be helpful?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm looking at Circuit Attorney's Office Exhibit 32. We're looking at this second paragraph right here where it says, you didn't say anything about a lazy eye until after you identified another man in the lineup and had spent some time alone with Detective Nickerson. And that is what's so puzzling. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that, because I meant to ask you about that myself. Is what she just read, is that true? Read that again, Counselor.
Sure, Your Honor.
Okay.
So the letter that you received from who was purported to be Lamar Johnson said, you didn't say anything about a lazy eye until after you identified another man in the lineup and you spent some time alone with him. And that is what's so puzzling.
Is that, other than that is what's so puzzling, is that true?
Yes, I did not officially pick anybody out of the lineup. Okay? They kept asking me, you know, can you pick somebody out, pick somebody out, pick somebody out. And I said, if the murderer is in that lineup, and this is what I said, if the murderer is in that lineup and I had to pick anybody, I said I would have to say number 4, and it was the wrong person.
So let me see if I got this right. You viewed number 4 not as, you correct me if I'm misstating,
Okay.
right? Not as the person you knew who did it, but as the one that in a world where you had to pick closest to what you recall.
Because of the height of all the other people and the height of the number 4. And I said, and the thing was, is I wasn't picking anybody out. I didn't say number 4 is it. I did not say that. I said that if I had to...
I got you.
Okay.
Prior to the jury trial, were you interviewed by counsel for the defendant? Counsel for Mr. Johnson?
No, I was not that I remember.
During the course of the trial?
I might have been. I might have been. I don't know.
During the course of the trial, did you explain this about why you went ahead and said number 4.
I don't know. I don't know if anybody even asked me about it. If they did, I explained it like I'm trying to explain it to you. Anybody that's ever said that, well, why did you pick out number 4? I never picked out number 4. They kept asking me, you know, can you pick somebody out? You know, do you know who it is? And so I said, and what it was is because I knew that Nickerson went out and picked up what he thought was the murderer and was going to put him in a lineup. And I said, if the murderer is in this lineup, and I had to pick one, I said it would be number 4. But I never picked number 4 out. I didn't say number 4 is the shooter.
I'm not trying to be tough on you, but you understand I have a big decision. All right. You may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. So going back to these letters, Mr. Elking. So in that letter from who you believed it to be, at least from Lamar Johnson, at the end he said that he expected to hear from you. And you did, in fact, write him back, correct?
Yes, I did.
And whenever you wrote him back, that is the first time that you said that you were alone with Detective Nickerson in an elevator.
Yes, ma'am.
After he had said, introduced to you the idea that you spent some time alone with Detective Nickerson. That was not in your letter to Larry Rice, was it?
No, ma'am.
And then you write in that letter that you wrote back, I'm looking at the 11/24/2003 letter. At the end of that letter, you asked him, write me back and tell me what we do next. Do you remember that?
I don't remember it, but yes, if I wrote it, then I did.
Do you want me to show you, sir?
No, I believe you. I believe you.
And then he writes you back on December 3rd, 2003.
Okay.
And in that letter, he says, I'm enclosing an affidavit that I need you to have notarized.
Okay.
So you agree that he wrote that affidavit. Is that fair?
No, I don't recall him writing the affidavit. No.
Was the affidavit included in that letter that Mr. Weiss just showed you on direct examination?
I guess it was. I don't remember him like filling out an affidavit for me. I remember going and getting an affidavit and filling it out, and then.
Let me see if I can help clarify.
Okay.
Do you remember taking that affidavit and signing your name to it with a notary or someone who looked and said?
Yeah, after I had, yeah.
Okay, but my question to you is, do you recall that that affidavit was prepared and sent to you in a letter from Lamar Johnson? You took it and then got it signed?
No. What you're saying is that he wrote an affidavit out for me and said, hey, go get this signed. Well, the thing is that if anything was done, I sent him an affidavit that I filled out, and then he typed it up or whatever, because I did not have a typewriter. And in prison, some people can have typewriters, some can't, okay, in your room. And I didn't type. I didn't go down to the library and type. I didn't do any of that type of stuff. I didn't. So, yeah, I could have sent it to him, and he got it, and he typed it up and sent it back to me, and then we did it like that. But those are my words.
So if that's what happened, if you sent him an affidavit for him to type up for you, we don't have that letter. Is that fair? That's not in front of you.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
And so then you write Lamar Johnson back on December 17th, 2003. Is that correct? You have that one in front of you?
What is it?
December 17th, 2003.
December. Okay, December 17, 2003. Yes.
And you tell him that you got the affidavit signed.
Okay.
And you were shown that affidavit as well on direct examination. And
Okay.
that was then on the same day you got that affidavit signed
Okay, and you know what, I think, now I'm trying to remember exactly how this affidavit and all that came about. I think you're right. I think he did type up an affidavit for me. I do, but I think it was because when we were talking back and forth, and I told him exactly what went on, they were my words that he was putting in the affidavit, and I think when he sent that to me, I read it, and I said, yeah, that's accurate, and I went and had it notarized.
Okay, and so on December 17th,
Nick?
on December 17th, 2003,
Okay.
That would be the date that you sent this letter to Lamar Johnson, is that right?
Okay, yes. Yeah, that's my handwriting.
And then that same day, December 17th, 2003, is whenever you, signed this affidavit, is that right?
Okay, yes.
You can look at the last page.
Yeah, I
You can look
see
at
it.
mine, too.
Yeah, I see it. It's my handwriting, yes.
all right, and you signed that James Elkins,
Yes.
and it says at the beginning, I, James Elkins.
Yeah, in state prison, my last name was Elkins.
Okay, but then the letter that you write to Lamar Johnson on that same day, you signed James Elkins, is that right?
Yeah, Elking.
Which is correct.
Well, Elking is correct, but
The records officer made a mistake.
made a mistake,
MSP.
yeah, and they told me I had to keep it as that throughout my whole,
Was that on your conviction record as well?
yes. Yeah, it was,
Other than being in the Department of Corrections, have you ever gone by any other name?
just my middle name, Greg.
Okay, and also in this letter, the December 17th letter to Lamar Johnson, you tell him.
Oh, just so you know, the basis of that question that I asked.
Sure, Your Honor.
At that time, and actually even to this day, the records officer was the person whose job it was to keep an accurate record of basically the coming in, the timing, everything of particular offenders. When they received the sentence and judgment paper, which back at that time was, or even today, they're filled out by hand. If somebody's handwriting was bad and the G looked like an S, the records officer would have written it in. Now, once the records officer writes it in, pretty much can't be changed short of a court order. So that's why that was a problem. And then off the record for a minute. That's why I'm so concerned about my handwriting. Back on. Go ahead.
You testified on direct examination, well, actually, back to this letter. So the December 17th, 2003 letter, you tell Lamar Johnson how that letter that he sent came to you. So he sent it to someone, who gave it to someone else, who then put it on your bed.
Yes, ma'am.
And that scared you, I'm using your words, you said that scared the shit out of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Because that demonstrated to you that Lamar Johnson knew where you were.
Exactly.
You didn't know his feelings towards you at that point.
Exactly.
You write him a letter, you say that you're wondering how many people know what's going on. You feel like you have to look over your shoulder.
Yes, ma'am.
Just like you felt whenever you agreed to cooperate 10 years prior.
No, I didn't think Nickerson was going to stab me, but no.
But you testified that the decision to cooperate was going to make you have to live with that the rest of your life.
Yes.
And there's nothing worse than being labeled a snitch in prison, correct?
Exactly.
And you knew Lamar Johnson knew where you were.
Yes, ma'am.
Whenever, I'm going to take you back to the night of October 30th, 1994. Your testimony yesterday was that all you could see was the eyes. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, you were asked prior to your trial testimony, you were deposed by Lamar Johnson's attorney, talking about that 1995 deposition, and he asked you how much of the face you could see. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember it, but
Okay, I'm going to show you on those marked
gonna show you, we're gonna start at page 17, line 22.
What page, please?
17, line 22. So would it be fair to say that the part of his face that you saw was from above the nose to below the hairline? Answer. I've seen some of the cheeks. The mask was, continuing on to page 18. A little further down on the nose, I've seen parts of his cheek here, and I've seen the full circles of his eyes completely, and then about half of his forehead because of the way the mask kind of came up to half of his forehead. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you recall whenever you testified at trial, being shown a picture, and you were asked, and see if I can find it. Do you remember being shown any pictures when you testified at trial?
Yeah, the mask.
Okay, I'm going to show you what I've marked as State's Exhibit W. And do you recall at trial, the prosecutor drawing lines showing you, you had indicated how much of the shooter's face that you could see. He drew some lines and you agreed that that's how much of his face you could see. Okay,
Hold on for a second. So that's what those lines, okay, finish your question, go ahead.
So I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit W. And it has another sticker in the top corner. You can ignore that one. So do you remember being shown this picture and these lines were drawn?
Yeah.
And looking at this picture today, is that your memory of how much of the face of the shooter that you could see?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not just eyes. You would agree with me that's a little bit of the cheeks and about half the forehead.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yep.
I think I probably know the answer, but what's the mask in question that was used ever seized by police and put into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm getting to that next.
All right.
Okay, and Your Honor, I would move to admit State's Exhibit W that was just shown to the...
Yeah, I had been looking at it as a CAO 62, but it's being proffered as W.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you. And so you testified when I asked you about pictures, you said you remember being shown a picture of the mask or the actual mask?
I think both. At one point I was shown a mask. I think that wasn't a picture.
And I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit Z.
And incidentally, I'm taking all exhibits as respondencies, not respondents, but as respondents exhibit. State isn't really necessarily a direct party in this case.
Sure, those were the stickers I had, Jeff. We're happy to share.
I understand. I understand.
Okay, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit Z. Is this the mask or the picture that was shown to you at trial?
I think so, yes.
Okay, and looking at this picture today, is this the same type of mask that was worn by the shooters, if you recall?
Kinda.
Okay.
Can you elaborate on what kind of means?
I thought that the hole for the eyes was a little bigger, but that could have been stretched out. I don't know. It wasn't pulled.
I got you.
Sure, so this
I didn't see a mask by itself when it was pulled on somebody's head. So that's.
Did they show you an actual mask at trial?
I think I don't know. I've seen a mask. I don't know where it was at. I don't remember where
When I say at trial, jury sitting over there in the box,
right?
Prosecutor and or defense counsel showing it to you.
I guess it
No,
might
I
have. I'm not.
guess. Do you remember?
I don't remember.
All right.
You've been asked, I don't think you were asked at all here this week, Mr. Helping, but you've been asked previously to give descriptions of the shooters, build, height. Do you recall that?
No, not really. But yes, yeah, I was asked a lot of questions like that. Yeah.
And I believe yesterday you were asked about the skin pigment of the shooters. I believe that was by Judge Mason. You remember him asking you that?
Yes.
And you testified that the shooters their skin was dark in color, and Judge Mason asked you, were they as dark as me? And you said just as dark as the judge. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes.
Do you remember in your deposition, whenever you testified,
No, I don't remember.
And I think I misspoke. It's actually in your 2010 affidavit. Do you have that one in front of you, or did that one get taken away? Is that one in front of you, sir?
I don't see it right this second, no.
Okay, let me know.
I guess this would be it here, I don't know. A 2010,
That's correct.
yeah, right here.
Okay, and in that affidavit, you say that the second shooter, the second gunman who ran up to Marcus, his skin was much darker than the individual who came to you. Is that true?
Yeah, I don't remember saying that, but again, it's been so long ago.
Sure, so your memory in 2010 would be better than it is today, is that fair?
I would imagine it was a little better than, yeah.
And you'd also
It was
testify
closer to the,
you
murder.
originally, when asked to describe the shooters, said that the individual who came up to you was at least 6 foot tall. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember speaking to Detective Nickerson at the diner, and he asked for a description of the shooters?
Yeah, and like I said, I think I had said that, you know, they weren't short. They were tall.
And sir, how tall are you?
I'm 6'1".
And you testified that you were looking directly in the eyes of the person who came to you, correct?
Well, when I was sitting down, yeah, I mean, that's when I'd seen him in his eyes. I wasn't looking directly in his eyes when I stood up, because I was kind of focused. It was back and forth, so no, it was just when I was sitting down.
And do you recall telling Detective Nickerson at the diner that the one who grabbed you was at least 6 foot tall?
And I could have, yes.
Okay. And do you remember in your 2019 deposition being asked about the descriptions of the gunmen?
My 2019 from who?
That was whenever they came and interviewed you in your deposition when you were in custody?
2019, right?
That's correct. I don't think you have that one.
Okay, yeah, I don't have that one, but
I'm going to show you page 57. And we're starting at line 20.
okay.
How tall were they, each of them? Answer. The one that ran up past me and killed, or, fired Marcus first, that was wrestling with Marcus, was kind of skinny and tall.
Mhm.
And then answer. The guy that got me was shorter.
Okay.
So that was your testimony in 2019. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
And you just testified when I was asking you that you remember them both being taller, correct?
Yeah, taller, not short.
Okay, and short can mean different things to different people.
Yeah.
What do you mean not short?
Not short, something maybe 5'4" to me is short, 5'5" short.
Okay, so you would definitely remember if one of them was at least a half foot shorter than you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember saying how tall they exactly were. Again, as time goes on, and this has been going on and on and on, and then, you see that I can be a little inconsistent here and there on affidavit because there's so much has been asked of me, and it is just, I try to the best of my ability to tell you exactly the truth is all I'm wanting to tell you is the truth, okay? And that's it, just the truth, nothing.
You have changed in your mind over time.
They haven't changed. That's you saying to me that I'm just, a liar. You know, I don't just go around lying.
My question to you is, has your memory of the details?
I think that at times I might say one thing and then say another, but the whole thing is that I'm just telling you the truth to the best of what I remember that happened
I have one question.
in 1994.
Because didn't you tell me while you were on the porch, one of your assailants pointed the gun or a gun at you?
Yeah.
Did you see this gun?
Yeah, I remember I told you as I looked over,
Can you
and
describe the gun to me? That was pointed at you?
Both guns, because I seen how they were.
Describe what was pointed at you, the gun that was
Pointed at me like a 9mm or some kind of 45 that's got a slide on it, because they were
what
sliding.
kind of gun was pointed at Marcus?
I said it's like the same gun, because when they were coming around, they were actually sliding. Both of them were sliding their pistols.
Yeah. All right. So what you saw basically 2 9mm.
Yeah.
All right. Didn't see a revolver.
No.
All right. Go ahead. Keep going.
Thank you, Your Honor. So you said that, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so you correct me if I'm wrong,
Okay.
but it's fair to say that over time, your memory of the details have changed.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is that
30 years ago, yes.
Okay. And over that time, you've been talking to Lamar Johnson's legal team going back to over a decade ago. Is that fair?
Yeah. At times, not. I mean, there's periods of 8, 9 months where I don't talk to any of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
I didn't mean every day.
Okay.
But back in 2010, prior to signing your 2010 affidavit, you met with an investigator with the Missouri Innocence Project a number of times before signing
Yes.
that affidavit. Is that fair?
Yes.
You've been shown recreations of the crime, photographs,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been shown pictures of people who definitely weren't the shooters, actors, or students, recreating that crime, and those pictures were shown to you.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes.
And you got visits from Lamar Johnson's attorneys whenever you were in prison around 2017 to 19 a number of times.
Yes.
And you also learned some things about the case that you never knew over the course of those years. Is that fair?
Oh yeah, I'm sure I have. Yes.
Okay, so some details were shared with you that you never even knew about.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes.
And you've been out, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been out of custody since June of 2019, is that right?
Yeah. I've been out completely. I violated a few times, but I've been out completely since May 10th of 2020.
2020?
Yeah, I haven't been back at all.
So since 2020, since you've been out, have you met with any of Lamar Johnson's legal team since then?
Besides the Innocence Project.
They're included.
Okay, that's the only ones, the Innocence Project.
And when's the last time that you spoke with them?
Today, well, I didn't speak to him today. I don't know, a couple days before this was, before what is, today's Tuesday, I think I met with him, Saturday. Yeah, Saturday.
Give me 1 moment, Your Honor, if I may. Okay, just have a few more questions about people that you've met with. Do you know how many times you met with the police prior to testifying at trial?
No, ma'am.
Fair to say it was just those couple times you looked at pictures and then looked at the lineup, and then the police were done with you, is that fair?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so the last time that you saw Detective Nickerson would have been
so, yes.
Okay. And can you tell me how many times you've met with Lamar Johnson's legal team over the last 28 years?
I couldn't tell you, but a few times.
And how many times were you shown the recreation photos of the murder that you witnessed?
The recreation photos,
Or the reenactment, whatever.
oh, okay,
You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
yeah, I do, but that, I've only seen that like once. I mean, I didn't need to see it any other than that.
And you remember telling them that the lighting was different in those photos?
Yeah.
And obviously they weren't the people that you saw on October 30th?
Right, and I mean, the way they had it, you know, leaving the mask and the way, yeah, the way that they came around, I think even
Okay.
the place that it happened at, you know, I think is also changed. That there isn't a downstairs door no more, and I think they got a fence around it, you know.
There's a lot of things different in
Yeah,
those
yeah,
photos.
yeah.
And so going back, I just want to make sure I understand this timeline correctly, Mr. Helping. So
Mhm.
October 30th, 1994, that's the day the levels were getting fair. That's whenever you witnessed your friend get murdered.
Yeah,
And on November 3rd in the afternoon, you looked at some photographs with Detective Nickerson.
yes,
Is that fair? And you at least recognized something familiar about the eyes in one of those photos.
yes,
And on November 3rd, that night, you looked at in-person lineups, correct?
yes,
And on July 11th of 1995, you testified at Lamar Johnson's trial,
yes,
and you pointed to him in the courtroom and said, "That's the person who grabbed me."
yes.
And then,
Hold for a moment. Lamar Johnson was the person who grabbed you?
No, I'm
Because that was the question you were asked just now.
she just asked me if Lamar
She
Johnson
asked you,
said-
was Lamar Johnson the person who grabbed you? You pointed in court and said Lamar Johnson was the person who grabbed you. And I just need to know, is that true?
You know, Your Honor, I guess I know I pointed to him. I pointed him out.
You don't recall saying, or tell me, do you recall, or if you said in court, Lamar Johnson was the person who grabbed you?
I guess I did because he went to prison. I mean,
Well,
you know, what I'm
that's
saying
not,
to you,
the because there were two assailants, correct?
there were two assailants.
All right. Now, one of them was, as you said, wrestling with Mr. Boyd,
Yes,
and one of them grabbed you.
right.
And are you saying Lamar Johnson is the one who grabbed you?
You know, I'm here to tell you that I don't know who grabbed me, but you know, if I said it back then you know, I was lying, I guess. Or
Were you quoting from the record saying that Lamar Johnson is the one who grabbed me, or was that just a
that
question?
was my question, Your Honor, and I think I can clarify.
Yeah, you need to.
Whenever you identified Lamar Johnson as one of the assailants, we understand your testimony today, sir, but back in 1994, the person that you identified as Lamar Johnson, was that the person who ran out to Marcus, or was the person who told you to get the fuck up?
it would have had to have been the guy that told me to get the fuck up, because that's
Okay, and
That's the one whose eyes you were looking at, from what you told me earlier.
yeah, that's the one where it all got put forth that's
And that's the one you saw with the
And that's
9mm pointed at you.
and that's who the detectives told me and believed that it was, and so I believed it too.
may I approach, Your Honor?
You may, Counselor.
Thank you. So I'm showing you portion of the trial transcript, which is in the book as State's Exhibit A. I'm showing you page 160.
Page 160.
Starting at line
4. And this is your answer. As Marcus was scooting back behind me, I kind of was still sitting on the porch, focusing on the one person that came up to me and told me to get the fuck up. Question. Now, was there anything unusual about that person's eyes? Answer. Yes, sir, there was. Question. What was that? Answer. The one eye was kind of lazy and he was staring right at me. Question. And do you see that person in the courtroom today? Answer. Yes, I do. Question. Would you point to him and say for the record what he's wearing today? Some off the record discussion, or some lawyer discussion, but then I'm going to page 161.
This is the trial transcript we're reading from.
Answer. You ask, go ahead and point him out. Question. Point him out and describe what he's wearing right now. Answer. That man over there with a yellow shirt and tie on. Did I read that correctly? Mm-hmm. And so whenever you
hold on, let me see if I got this correct. This is important. Is the person who told you to get the F up the same person who pulled your arm, caused you to go down the steps?
And that is where we're at today, and that's why I'm here trying to explain.
I just need to know, was it? You just think back in your mind.
I can't
somebody
tell you.
tells you to get the F up.
And I can't say that was him. What I am trying to tell you is
that wasn't my question. I don't care who it was. This human that said, get the F up.
Right.
Was that the same person that you talked about somebody pulling on your arm?
I can't say that it was. I cannot say that it was.
So you don't know what this person who said get the F up did?
No, because I don't know who the shooters were.
No, I don't ask you who it was. I'm asking you just a shadow of people in all the black.
Yeah.
Forget who they are.
Okay.
Just think back on the individual who said to you, whoever it was,
right,
get the F up. Is that the same person who pulled your arm and caused you to be down the stairs where you left it on that picture with the dot?
Yes.
You're sure about that? I need you to be as sure as you can possibly be.
Yes, because the only person that I would able to be closest to identify would be the person that was right in front of me, the one that did grab me. Okay, so that's how all this even got started, to where they thought that I seen more, or that I knew more, or that I, and the thing is that, Judge, I do not know who it was, and I just was told, and I was led to believe that it was Lamar Johnson.
All right, I need lead counsel for relator and lead counsel for respondent in my chamber. That's all I want. Period. Lead counsel for relator, lead counsel for
the
respondent. You can remain seated. You can step down. You can step down. All right, we'll be recess. I guess since I have to do a 12:25 hearing, I might as well recess an hour. So we're going to recess an hour. All right, Division 17 is now in recess. Yeah, see that side, sir.
Check.
Yeah.